Hello guys, I'm here to give my review of the Avengers Age of Ultron. I saw this movie last night, and I really liked it. Okay? Now, I'm going to disclose, I have not seen the first Avenger movie, so I don't know if this fixed things from the first Avenger movie. I do think it had some good character development, especially for Hawkeye, and I think that, based on what I saw, I'd love to actually see a movie based on Hawkeye's origins and stuff like that. And let me tell you, at first, I don't know that much about the Marvel well, I know most of the Marvel Universe, but I thought the guy in the middle credit sequence was actually, Apocalypse from the X-Men at first. But I know it's Thanos. I know it's Thanos now, who was in Guardians of the Galaxy. But I never saw Guardians of the Galaxy, so I wouldn't really have known that. But it starts out with an invasion on Hydra, and the team's looking for Loki's staff. They get Loki's staff, but the Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, who are there, and they're fighting at the people, the Avengers at first. Scarlet Witch plays with Tony Stark's mind, and he sees all the Avengers dead, and that inspires him to create the Ultron AI, with the help of Bruce Banner. Ultron takes on a sentient mind for himself, and realizes that world peace can only be achieved if the Avengers are dead, and all of humanity being dead. This sets a lot of the Avengers off, because Tony Stark didn't tell him about this, because he didn't want the whole "you should not mess with what you don't know" speech, which has always been a massive problem with Tony Stark, at least in his movies. The one in the animated stuff, I think, was far more open to stuff like this. Tony Stark has always kind of been, at least through the Iron Man movies and at least this movie, has always kind of been kind of a douche in a way, to me. But, so they all have to go find Ultron. He goes to Wakanda to steal some vibranium. And we don't see the Black Panther, despite the Black Panther being an Avenger. We don't see him, even though they're in Wakanda. But, again, putting everyone who's been an Avenger, if you put everyone in this movie, you'd probably not have, it would take away, make it cost too much. Since you're having to deal with Wolverine's been an Avenger, Luke Cage has been an Avenger, Spider-Man's been an Avenger. With the Civil War, Human Torch and Invisible Woman have been Avengers. So, yeah, there's a lot of Avengers in that. And speaking of that, I saw a trailer for the new Fantastic Four movie, and I gotta say this. As much as I want to see that, they're gonna have to explain why Johnny Storm is black and Sue Storm is white. Because they're brother and sister, and they're not adopted, so I want to see how they explain that little thing. I'm not upset that there's a black Human Torch. I'm just, how are you going to explain it, is what I'm thinking to myself. I'm also interested in the Ant-Man movie, which is about Hank Pym. That's probably why Ant-Man, Yellow Jacket, and Giant Man, and everyone Hank Pym can do is not in this movie, because, well, he's got his own movie coming out, I think, in July. So, Ultron gets the vibranium from Ulysses Claw in Wakanda, and while and the Avengers show up and all fight, but Scarlet Witch manages to do the thing she did to Tony Stark's brain. She does it to all the other Avengers. Thor imagines something in Asgard where apparently everyone in Asgard is killed. Captain America sees some dance or something from the 40s about the war being over. Black Widow goes back to her childhood. And really, I guess Banner's greatest fear, that's what Scarlet Witch does. Banner's biggest fear is obviously never being able to, is constantly being the Hulk, obviously. And when Scarlet Witch messes with his mind, Hulk just does what Hulk does best, and that's smash things. Hulk just goes, Hulk smash! Hulk smash beauty car! Hulk smash city! That kind of thing. Which leads to a fight between the Hulkbuster armor and Hulk, which is a very well done thing in this movie, and is very intense. Now I know that, even though I haven't seen the movie, I know that there's a fight like this between one of the Avengers and Hulk in the first movie, too. But, the thing about it, and I will say this, even though I know Hulk is a member of the classic Avengers and all this, Bruce Banner fits into a team. Hulk does not fit into any team. Leave Hulk by himself just to smash things. You know? Because Hulk does not fit into the Avengers. He doesn't fit into a superhero team because Hulk's brain doesn't function. Hulk's brain doesn't function that much. So, due to all this damage that Hulk did, the Avengers have to go to a safe house that is actually Hawkeye's house, and you find out that Hawkeye is actually married. Now, I already knew that, because I know a little bit about Hawkeye in terms of he can do pretty much, he's kind of Marvel's version of the Green Arrow. But they have different things, differing stories. But again, they fleshed his character out a lot here to the where Hawkeye's probably more of a Boy Scout than Captain America is, because there's a running gag in this movie that Captain America hates foul language of any kind, and then he actually uses foul language near the end of the movie. So that's always a nice thing. So they find out about that Ultron wants to create this body, and he is creating this body, and he's possessed Helen Cho or Chow or some doctor from South Korea, and she makes him the body. But before they can upload his schematics into it, Scarlet Witch sees inside Ultron's mind and knows what he wants to do, and her and Quicksilver leave him and decide to go help the Avengers. So the Avengers successfully steal the core or whatever Ultron's body is, and Stark and Banner implant Jarvis into this body, which creates Vision. Which creates the Vision, and basically Thor found out that the stone that was in Loki's staff is one of 6 stones that are in the Infinity Gauntlet, and that is the key to stopping Ultron or something like that. So they go back to where the movie started, and we get a really good climax with all the Avengers doing what they do best. Quicksilver sacrifices himself to save Hawkeye and the kid that Hawkeye was saving. And the Scarlet Witch is the one who actually does in Ultron. Well, the main body of Ultron. Vision did in the rest of his remnants. And then they save the day, and all, you know, and all of the Avengers go their separate ways. Iron Man goes somewhere, I don't really know. Thor goes back to Asgard, which I guess is going to launch probably another Thor movie. I haven't seen the first 2 Thor movies. I wanted to, but I haven't seen them, so I can't tell you anything about that, because I don't know anything about the Thor movies, because I haven't seen them. So, Banner disappears off the face of the earth, or at least Hulk does, because Black Widow never got him out of Hulk form, because he shut off her teleportation to the Quinjet. And I like this thing between Banner/Hulk and Black Widow, this little romance thing, but I really don't think that would work, because again, outside of the Avengers universe, Hulk has somebody else that Hulk or Banner likes in Hulk's own universe. See, when you have characters that have their own continuities into the superhero team, it kind of makes it unbelievable some stuff they kind of do. I mean, I like the romance between Banner, Hulk, and Black Widow. I think it had some very good moments in the movie, but if you know Hulk's primary thing, he has an entirely different love interest. So, and I would love, and based on the fact that they really flush Hawkeye out in this movie, I'd love to see a Hawkeye movie down the road, because he actually is a very, they make him a very deep character in this movie. In fact, he's the one who gives the speech to Scarlet Witch that actually empowers her to become an Avenger. Hawkeye actually gives that speech. It's not Captain America or Iron Man or anything like that. It's Hawkeye. So that helps Hawkeye's character a lot. And him going after this kid, risking his life, shows everything there, because it delves into the fact of what he is as a father. So this really worked. And I like all the performances in this. I've always thought Robert Downey Jr. is very good as Iron Man, even though, again, I think that in this cinematic universe, Iron Man is a douche. And I think Robert Downey Jr. plays it good. I think Chris Hemsworth is good as Thor. Thor's the only one who's actually talking like a god. Well, the way Chris Hemsworth does Thor, at least you believe that Thor's a god, because he talks like it. Which Thor is. He's half god and half human or something like that. And there's also this thing where all the Avengers are trying to... They think that Thor's lying about only the Chosen can pull his hammer, so they all try to pull it, and none of them can except for Captain America, who comes the closest to actually lifting it. Which, again, I think in the comics, Captain America has lifted Mjolnir, as has Storm of the X-Men. But I could be wrong on that. I only know that from our Ultimate Alliance. So, Chris Evans, I think, is really good as Captain America. I think Mark Ruffalo is very good as Bruce Banner and Hulk. I think he really gets what the Hulk character is. Jeremy Renner was good as Hawkeye. Enjoyed him. I enjoyed both the actors playing Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch. I think Scarlet Witch is played by Elizabeth Olsen, I believe. I don't know who's playing Quicksilver. So I do know that they did Russian accents, and they're not the best I've heard, but they're not the worst. While I think Scarlett Johansson is good as Black Widow, I would really prefer she do a Russian accent, because Black Widow is Russian, so I'd really prefer she do a Russian accent, or at least attempt one. Samuel L. Jackson is what he is as Nick Fury. Let's be honest with that, he just is. Paul Bettany as Jarvis and Vision is good. Good there. But to me, James Spader is the person who really makes this movie because of how he portrays Ultron. The way he voiced Ultron was really, really good and very, very made you understand what Ultron wanted to do. I mean, yeah, Ultron's not scary, but supervillains are not always scary. But Ultron can be very menacing, and you get that from James Spader's performance. And Ultron can be menacing because he's an AI. He's an artificial intelligence that can go into any kind of machine or anywhere. So, yeah. It's an interesting thing there. And then, of course, the post-credit scene or mid-credit scene or whatever's in all these Marvel movies deals with Phantos stealing the Infinity Gauntlet, which obviously is going to lead into that movie, those two movies in 2018 and 19. But before we get there, I imagine in 16 or 17, you're going to have the Marvel Civil War movie. Which they can do a lot with that. There's enough content there that you could do a lot with that. Because you have the Fantastic Four end up on opposite sides of that. Spider-Man. Yeah, that's probably going to be the most expensive movie to make for Marvel to do, because the Civil War, if I know correctly, pretty much involves the entire Marvel comic universe in some fashion. So that's probably going to be a very expensive movie to make just in that. So that could be a very good movie. Because, again, you have the Secret Invasion of Latveria that leads to it. You could throw that in there. You could throw that into the Civil War film, which pretty sure is going to happen. And I think you're going to get some other... I think we're getting a Doctor Strange film I think, but I could be wrong on that. If we do, I'd love to see the Doctor Strange film, because Doctor Strange is a very interesting character. I don't know much about him, but that doesn't mean I can't enjoy the movie. And, you know, my knowledge of the Marvel Comics universe is a lot through the TV shows they did in the 90s. So, the cartoons they did. I mean, I have read some Marvel Comics, but I know more about them through the TV shows. So, that's just my personal history of Marvel Comics. I've never been a big comic guy. But I have watched virtually every Marvel comic cartoon ever. So, I love the original X-Men cartoon. I like the Spider-Man animated series. That's also my way of DC Universe, too. What I know about the DC Universe is through animated TV shows. So, but, yeah, this movie does a lot. I like the inclusion of Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. I wish Quicksilver wouldn't have died, but it kind of redeems him even more in a way, I guess. It would have been nice if they would have mentioned that they are Magneto's kids, but the X-Men is a separate universe, so that probably would never be mentioned anyway. So, yeah. I think this is a very good movie. I can't judge it against Avengers 1 because I haven't seen Avengers 1, but I do think this is a very good movie. So, I haven't seen Guardians of the Galaxy either, so that's why I didn't recognize Thanos, because the guy was purple. I thought he was Apocalypse from X-Men, but that's only because of the fact that I haven't seen Guardians of the Galaxy. You know, he's in that far more frequently. So, yeah. So that's the review. If I had to give it a star thing, I'd give it 4.5, because I don't think it's a 5-star movie, but a lot of it works. I think a lot of the jokes work, you know, and they balance it good. They balance it joke and really good action scene mixed with good character development. There are some things that are a bit iffy in continuity, but again, you have two people doing Russian accents, and Scarlett Johansson doesn't. I just prefer that, but it's still a very good film, and I'm very glad I watched it. And I look forward to most of the Marvel Universe after this to see where they go from the Marvel Universe. So if you like the video, like button is down there, subscribe button is down there, and thank you for watching. Bye.